and it has the ability to look at zero-day exploits. People who see some type of traffic, they can report it, and they can actually reverse engineer some type of, whether it's malware or something, and understand how to block or thwart any type of attack. And then they can push that out dynamically to people of Palo Alto firewalls and allow them to get that that policy and have it applied as well. So it's like a security community with Palo Alto. So we wanted to show two firewalls today. We wanted to talk about web security on the cloud, so Amazon Web Services. And we wanted to talk about firewalls to layer 4, layer 3 and layer 4 with a standard router that we can simulate within Packet Tracer. So what we want to do is, let's see, at the beginning of this class, did we set up our Amazon Web Services accounts?
Most of us did, but I had some issues and I never got those resolved.
And you can send an email to their support. And let me I have a. So you weren't able to log in. Is this Micah?
No, that was Teddy.
Oh, Teddy.
Yeah, I had to use Oracle, I think. What were you doing?
Are you in Oracle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is a regular Microsoft account in Microsoft, or sorry, is the regular Amazon account and the Amazon Web Services account two different things? Because
Yeah,
I have an Amazon account.
Yeah. Yeah, it is two different things.
Okay.
But you can use the same password. I mean, I have like a Amazon Prime account and the same username and password I use for my Amazon Prime as I use for Amazon Web Services, but I got an account. Well, I was using my St. Martin's email. That's why it worked. But you can get a free student account with Amazon Web Services using your student account by going to their AWS portal. We go to share screen 2. So yeah, when you're in there, let's see, I was in Support Center here, but and so you can send them an email, but if you want to, if you haven't done it yet, the actual website is awseducate.com. Okay, so it's awseducate.com, and this allows you to create a free tier 1-year account as a student using your student account. And Vocarium is who does this Educate portal. It's a third-party company that works with Amazon, but they kind of have this overlay for educational resources and other things besides the actual portal, getting in and actually using resources within the Amazon Web Services cloud. So you just click on the yellow button, join Amazon Web Services, join as a student. And our institution, we're part of the Amazon Educate or AWS Educate group. So St. Martin's comes up there. And along with a whole nother list. I mean, if I just do Saint, you'll see that lots of schools starting with Saint come up. University. The big key to this is that you use your stmartin.edu account and then fill out the other stuff. No promo code, I'm not a robot, and so forth. And that will, they'll send you 2 emails. One will be to confirm your account, and another will be to then log in and have the links to the different resources in the portal. Okay. So if you're in the portal, it looks like this, and okay, we're using the new portal here, and so it looks a little different. That's fine. It looks like this, and you've got instances running, and it goes in, and you'll see a list of all your instances running. And that's assuming you're in the right section. No instances running. Oh, I see. Okay, let me go back. This is the new portal. So instances, maybe that's what I need. So here's my instances. All right. And they normally give me money and they haven't. So I had these running here, and you can literally click on them and you can show what they're doing. These are stopped, but you can actually do actions, and this is a little different. Instance state, terminate instance. This is a little bit different. Yeah, this is liking it. So this will terminate these, and then it'll go through the actual termination process. Successfully terminated. It's actually looking more and more like Azure. Okay. So if you want to spin up an instance, okay, on here, then you click on, I'll go back to console home. Services, storage. Yeah, so I may be a little, I guess I can turn off the new experience, but I like to see key pairs. These are keys to security groups. Okay, so we got a clean slate here. Okay. All right, so we got nothing here. Oh, I do have 2 there. There's a default security group. Okay. So if I'm at the dashboard here and I want to launch a new instance, okay? So I click on launch instance right here. Okay. And if I go back for a minute, actually, to show you this, by default, okay, I am US West Oregon. But US West Oregon, they have zones US West 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, And now they have these other ones, Zone ID, AZ1, Amazon Zone 2, 3, and 4. So this is constantly being changed and upgraded and improved. New data centers are being brought online with both Amazon and Azure. And so be aware of that. If you create services, make sure they're all in the same data center. Otherwise, they won't see each other without some type of link between the different data centers. So now there's lots of, when you go in to create a new VM, you've got some that are free tier eligible. That Amazon Linux says free tier eligible. Then you have even Mac OS, you have Red Hat, you have SUSE Linux, you've got Ubuntu, yeah, even Microsoft. You've got lots of other ones with that you can select, many operating system combinations. Okay, some are a combination with like Microsoft Windows Server 2019 with SQL Server 2017 Enterprise. So it's a combination of VM, the operating system, and the application. That's called software as a service, okay? SaaS, instead of infrastructure as a service, where maybe you bring your own application, you install it with your own license key and so forth. Yeah, so that's coming with something already pre-built on there. All right, there's at the very top of this, over on the left, it says free tier only. If I check that box, then it's just going to have these banners, free tier eligible, so that I'm not hopefully spending any money. Now, for me, it doesn't matter because I'm past the 1 year free tier, so it doesn't matter. I get billed for anything I spin up. Okay. But for you, that matters. So you're not getting billed, even though you have $100 credit, you don't need to use it for that first year. If you spin up resources within that free tier, you won't be charged.
By the way, are you meant to be following along with this like on our own, or?
Yeah, if you are logged in to Amazon Web Services and you're able to follow along, that would be great. If you're not, if you don't have a login yet, or you're still working on that, then just watch, and you can just watch and take notes.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you have Amazon Web Services, you can log in and you want to spin up a VM and with me as we go along here, I think that aids in your learning. So even though Microsoft is a product that requires a license, they have paid some type of site license or something, Amazon Web Services, to provide Windows servers for on the free tier, and not bill you at least for the first year for that. Now that doesn't mean all Windows Server operating systems are free, but these are that are shown here. And if I selected one, let's say I selected this Microsoft Windows Server 2019 base, then I can come into the resources. So here's the virtual resources that are provided. There is one slot that's highlighted in blue on the left that's free tier. It says green, free tier eligible. That little says t2.micro. And that is a resource package that includes, in this T2 family, it's one virtual CPU in that column 3, 1 gig of memory. And surprisingly, this virtual machine can run on 1 gig of memory in a virtual environment, where normally Windows takes a minimum of 4 gig on like a regular server or more. And then you've got instance storage that we'll see in the next screen. And it's got a network performance. It says low to moderate, and you can have IPv6 support if you want. So all these other ones that are even this one smaller, T2 Nano, T2.nano, 1 virtual CPU and 0.5 or a half a gig of memory is not in the free tier. And then as you go beyond that, you know, from 1 virtual CPU to 2 to 4 to 8 virtual CPUs, those get very expensive. So now in the bottom left-hand corner, you can do a review and launch right away, or you can go next, configure instance details. And so the blue, you can just jump to the end and launch it if you want at this point. But if we go through the steps, configure instance details, by default, they just spin up 1, but you could change that to launch 2 or 3 or 4 servers or more at the same time with these features set up. It gives you a default network, virtual private connection, VPC. The subnet, it says the default subnet in any availability zone, which is 2C, 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D. And so then you can allow that. Auto assign a public IP address, and it'll auto assign one. Okay. You can actually have a permanently assigned one if you want, but anytime you make a change from the default, they bill you for that. All right. And if you're wondering what these are, like capacity reservation, you can put your cursor over that upside down exclamation mark. Capacity reservations reserve capacity for your EC2 instances in a specific availability zone. You can launch instances into a capacity reservation if they have matching attributes like instance type, platform, and availability zone. Okay. You can join a directory if you want. All right, that's like LDAP or Active Directory. They have a licensed Active Directory in Azure, in Amazon Web Services from Microsoft. IAM, okay. This is the actual role-based access that you can select, and you can, for example, if you wanted to give someone else access to your VM, and then the shutdown behavior, you can set it up so when you stop it, it just stops, or you can select if when you're done, you terminate. Now, why would you want to just terminate? Means delete it, remove it. But let's say you spun up 100 servers, you wanted to run a test, and when you stopped it, you didn't want to delete them individually, you want to just blow them all off. So when you click stop, it just terminates. It's like you spun them up, you did your work, and then you stopped. And so you would just have a very short amount of time that you were billed for some type of test scenario or test bank or something like that. Okay. All right, so if we go to add storage, the next button in the bottom right, then we have, by default, they give you 30 gig of hard drive storage. And in fact, this is a general purpose SSD, solid state drive. So they are giving you 30 gigs on an SSD, and IOPS per second, 100, okay. And input output per second. All right, and you can encrypt that traffic if you so desire. Tags, the next thing is tags, which you can define different traffic types, and then you can manage your traffic through tags in the packets. Configure security group. This is your firewall. Your security group is a firewall that you have for your devices. And by default, all you have is remote desktop protocol. That's just a remote into your server. TCP is the protocol, and the port is 3389. That's for remote desktop protocol or remote desktop. If if you're familiar with that. That's just the ability to remote into another machine. And that's not Microsoft specific. There's XRDP for Linux. And you can remote in using other types of commands like secure shell with port 22. So there's other ways to remote in. This one is a GUI remote access. And you can put a, RDP. You can put a description in there.
So
Yeah, question?
what I'm understanding is that you basically select IP addresses you accept traffic from.
Yeah, if you put an IP address here in this source section right here,
Yes.
then you can say only accept a remote desktop from this specific address.
Okay.
But if you have all zeros there, 0.0.0.0/0, then it's saying that it's saying from anywhere. And of course, they give you a warning. It says, hey, this is not secure. You're allowing remote access from anywhere. Okay, we recommend that you narrow it down, and you can give both an IP range or a specific IP address. Now, if this was a web server, and we wanted that to actually be seen externally, then we would need to create a access line on our access control list here for hypertext transfer protocol, TCP port 80, and that's the unsecure version. But this, we could say this is web traffic, whatever as a description. Okay. So if we review and launch, okay, we look at what we've got. Here's our security groups. Looks like we can remote in. We can also get to it by port 80 now for IP version 4 or IP version 6 traffic. That ::/0 is for IP version 6. Instance details and all the settings, our storage details, 30 gigs of storage, and if we had any tags. And then we launch it. Okay. Choose an existing key pair or create a new key pair. This key pair is a way for you to remote in without passing your password from your remote client to the server up in the cloud. Okay. This is my CSC345 key pair. Okay. And by the way, I have to download this key pair. If you don't download this key pair, which is this PEM file, then you're in trouble. You can't get to your box. Okay, so let me save it. And then launch instances. So I've just created, while that's launching, I've created this Amazon Web Services directory, and I've stuck different keys in here from different launches. Okay. All right. So it says your instances are now launching, and you can click on this number. It's an ID for this instance, and it says running, and so okay. Initializing, and you can scroll across here. It's in US West. This is in Oregon. All right. And they give you a public name here. You can expand these columns. So this is, they've already given me a public IP address right here, 54.245.61. Okay. So if I say 54.245.61.221, I'm going to jot that down so I can go to my box there. And so my security group is called Launch Wizard 1. That's my firewall. Okay. And then my key is CSC345 key. Okay. So it's still actually initializing. Under that status check, it says initializing. So this is how you spin up a VM here. And so at this point, for me, I can actions. Okay. You can connect to this. Oh, so it's still too early. Download a remote desktop file. This is my file that I need to download. And it actually, the name of my file is in here. It's called EC2. Maybe you can't see that. I'll zoom it up. But the name of the file name here is Elastic Compute 2. And then, remember that IP address? They put hyphens in there. 54-245-61-221. And this is where it's the name of it, .uswest2.compute.amazonaws.com RDP. So they put all that to help you remember what the name of your VM is. So I'll save this. And let's go back to instances here for a minute. It says initializing. See that? See 2 of 2 checks passed. So now it is running. Okay, so now in my box, here is my EC2. This pops up the first time. Unknown publisher for the certificate for the encrypted communication. You say, don't show me that again. Connect. Let's see. Did I actually put in a password?
Yeah, we can't see it on your screen.
So I think that
Oh, there it goes.
let's see. When I created that, how did I? Yeah, so running this, let's see, did I miss the part where I put my password in to log into that? Because let me go back to this instance state, terminate instance actions, connect, view details, instance settings. Get Windows password. Oh, okay. That's what I was doing. I was like, I knew I was missing a point. I was like, first, I don't have my password. So this is what I need. Decrypt password. Okay, there. There is my password right there. Copy. Okay, now launch. I didn't have that PEM file, then I wouldn't be able to copy that. Control V, paste it in. Remember me. Okay. Okay. So now we are now it is spinning up a VM here. Okay. Now, the first time that you go in, it takes a little bit longer because you have to create your desktop and so forth, all those things with Windows. So it spins that up, builds that.
And you're only running with 1 core and 1 gig of RAM.
That's true. That's also correct. And what they'll do when this gets totally spun up is they'll run a little script, a little app, and it throws in the upper corner here, it will throw the name of your box up here so you remember what the details are of it. Okay, so for now, I go here, I go to Server Manager. It takes a minute for it to spin up. So, any questions on this so far, spinning up a VM? So this is key to your group project. Going into Amazon Web Services, spinning up a VM, running, say, a version of Linux or something, selecting one of the Azure groups, selecting one of the choices for your final group project, learning about it, getting it working, and then demonstrating it here in Amazon Web Services. So this, for those, if anyone is following along, any questions up to this point about what we just done, what we just did?
So basically, AWS is for virtual machines that will be stored online, essentially.
Yes, that's right.
This is
So
what
they're
they call
stored up in the
cloud
cloud.
computing.
Yeah, they're stored on the internet, but really the internet is just connected to a large physical data center that Amazon owns. In this case, it's being stored in Oregon and in the US West data center for Oregon. And if we go back to this, these are the different places you could store your, so it's a virtual server running on a physical server, but it's using virtualization. And it's based off of a Zen variant called Elastic Compute, which is what Amazon has created for their environment, their virtual environment. And you could put a VM literally for your Amazon Web Services student account. All of your stuff has to be put into US East North Virginia right here, US East 1. But just a regular account can go in any of these: Ohio, California, US West is in Oregon, US West 2, Africa, Hong Kong, Mumbai, Osaka, Seoul, Singapore. These are data centers all over the world that you can actually spin up VMs with this. This is basically an automated portal, a self-service portal that allows you to spin up resources and utilize those. You can remote in, you can look at them, you can configure them, and this creates what becomes a virtual lab for you and your group to be able to spin up resources and then utilize those resources to create your final project in this class, demonstrate it, and learn about it and learn what it can do, and then showcase that in your final presentation.
Hey, Mark, I got a couple of really quick questions for you. I am trying to follow along here. I did have some difficulty, but I've recovered my AWS account and got in and realized I had an earlier Ubuntu EC2 instance. I've confirmed, obviously, that I am stuck with the East Coast selections, and a number of the free tier images are coming up. Is there any of these images, whether Ubuntu or Windows-based stuff, that we should stay away from that you might want us to focus on? And that leads to this question too, is whether or not it's good to try and put multiple instances, or should we just only focus on one and then just carry that through?
Okay, all good questions. So yes, as your Amazon Educate account, you're stuck with East United States and Northern Virginia, but that doesn't matter. You can have the ability to spin up multiple VMs if you want, but be aware that they give you, when they say free tier, you stick with those, you're not going to be charged, but that means running one server at a time. Now you could run more than that, but be aware that if you spin up one server and just leave it running all the time, then you have enough resources in your free tier to run this 24/7, 365 days, okay? And you're not going to be billed. You'll still have $100 credit at the end of your first year. If you spin up multiple VMs and run those, then you're using more hours than you have as part of your free tier. So therefore, you would be expending then, or digging into, eating into that $100 credit your first year, even though they're part of the free tier. Okay, so just be aware of that. Now that the thing is it's not production, so it's not like you have to have it running. You spin it up, you work on it, you get something set up, you shut it off. Okay, you turn it back on. Maybe you spin up 3 servers, you work on it for a little bit, turn them back off. So then if the total hours do not exceed the total hours for running one machine 24/7 for a whole month, you will not be billed because you didn't exceed your hours. Does that make sense?
Hey, Mark, actually, if you have 2 instances that you created, then it'll build 2. So it's not running or not. It's whether you have the instant created. That's how my the free tier got like ate up so early, because I wasn't running 2. I had 1 RDS and 1 EC2. So, but they're counting those 2 as 2 of them, even if you're not running it. So I got confirmed with the customer center. So if you want to use it for an year, then you should use only 1 EC2 created and nothing else.
Yeah. So that may be a new change because like actions, if I have this highlighted and go to actions, instant state, and I stop it, then it shouldn't bill me.
No, they bill it.
Stop though.
They bill it. So they said, they confirmed it, that whether you stop it or running, they only count how many instant that has been created under the profile.
I see. Okay. So yeah, that's a good question then, because
they're not actually gonna charge you. They're gonna take the credits that you have $100 for every year, and once you're using all of the 100 year, they're going to extend another like $10. And once you use all of the other $10, then they'll give you another $3, and that will be your last chance. And I already used all of them.
okay.
Mark, I think that answers a couple of questions because I believe that explains some of the difficulty I encountered. I may have created a number of instances and I noticed that my credit got knocked down and I had since deleted them and then restarted with just one. And the credit level seems to remain the same, but I just thought it was because I had done something outside the free tier. But that does explain that change has happened in the last year or so, because I did do this a long time ago without any issue. It appears as if they've tightened the bolts on how you use the free stuff.
That must be because, let's say I spun up 4 VMs and then I just shut them all off. So long as I didn't, the total consumed hours total didn't exceed the total for the month, but it sounds like it's changed now. Yeah. So
And also, if you need a help on any technical issue, you will not be able to get help because for the students, we are not getting any support from AWS. But if you call the AWS number and put your user ID, it wouldn't be what on Mark's screen. It'll going to be really long with student email on it. Then they can help you. They said that they can't help you, but if you ask question, they can answer some questions. But you gotta be mindful of that. That customer center will not going to support or help you on the technical issue.
yeah, you don't have actual paid support, but you should be able to ask questions, should be able to email and get some answers, or you can send it to me. And I do have some contacts at Amazon where I send it and get some questions answered as an instructor. So
Yeah, that would be nice.
So hopefully whatever you have, you can send to me and I can help get a result. Okay. So
And one of my suggestion is, I'm sorry to cut you off. One suggestion is when you actually stabilize your instance, take a snapshot of it. And if there is any error or if you encounter something, then you can simply delete it and then create a new one with that Snapchat. Then it's rolled backed up. Then you don't actually need to contact with anybody. So that's what I did, and it was pretty helpful.
cool. Yeah, thanks, Gary. Okay, now if we've spun up a VM, we selected what we wanted, we went in and got it running. We got our password from that PEM file that we saved out. That was the secret. And I was like, I knew I didn't extract that PEM file. If I look at that PEM file, this is what it looks like. Okay. That is your RSA hash. And inside that was that long password that they gave me. All right. Which I then took and I had gone into here's your, over in the upper right, shows the host name now of this EC2 AMAZ, this basically this cryptic host name from the name that they gave it, the server, and the ID that's associated with it. Here's my public IP address, private IP address on the inside. So I've got an external publicly facing routable address, on the internet, 54.245.61.221, and then there's a private on the inside for these servers to talk to each other if you have more than one. Instance size, T2 micro, where it's located, US West 2B, and total memory 1 gig and so forth. So what I did on this is went into the select destination on this. Let me go next, and I am just installing just a web server. And if I run through a quick web server install, it's called Internet Information Services, IIS, is the name that Microsoft gave their web server. You might be familiar with a Linux web server like Apache. All right. It's very popular. Look at the time on this box here. Shows in the bottom right-hand corner, it shows 8:53 p.m. That's interesting. It's in Oregon, I believe, but oh, it's UTC. We're -8, right? Or are we +8? -8.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So, okay. So is this, all right. So I've spun up my website here and all right. So now the question is can you hit that website? 54.245.61.221. You see that? See that splash screen? So Windows Server, it shows me that I am accessing. It says not secure because it's port 80, right? Well, if I go to this server and I go to this directory, there's a directory that's created on this PC at the C drive. It's inetpub www root, and in here is this is the logo that you saw splashed on the screen, that blue logo right here. So if I create a new file, okay, a text document, and I call it index.html, okay, and I edit this, edit. This is Mark's cool website, okay, and I save this, and I go back to my browser here, and I do a refresh. And was I able to save that?
You may have to restart your service, your IIS service.
The service that runs all this is right here. And sites, I just have a default site. And you can restart it right there. If I go back to my browser now and do a refresh, let's see what happens here. Now, I think what's happening is it should just say this is Mark's website here.
Or is there any chance you would have to set the default website on the IRS from the default file to the index HTML?
Yeah. Should work like that. Yeah, you don't have to actually, you can put an HTML coding, but in fact, it'll just spit that out. I've done this before and it's just worked. So yeah. Sometimes it's like a rights issue or something. And, but an index HTML should override index.html or index.htm. Both of those should work. But there is what's called default document right here. And if you take this and you can move it up. Okay, this is the very first one that actually it's going to look at here. So, and it's going to work here. Yeah. Wait a minute. Oh, I know why. I think it's cached. Let me go to another browser. Let me go to another browser. Let me try it again. Let me dump it in here. Nope. So there's something with that file that is causing a problem here. Not that. This. All right. So on this. If I take this, and I create this, and I'll create it in a different directory. I'll create it in my documents directory. New, oh, not folder. File, text file, HTML. Create that. Save yes. Control C. Go to this PC, local drive, inetpub, www.root, paste. Refresh. Yeah, interesting. Oh well. I'm blowing my own demo here. It's not running. I mean, I could delete those files, but I don't need to delete them typically. So like this IIS start, if I do this and delete these two, and then I go to there, it should error on me. See, forbidden access denied. You do not have permission to view this directory. And that's interesting. So maybe it's a rights issue with this hub root properties security. I don't know if that's going to work or not. No. Okay. Well, that is the directory for your website, and you can modify it and throw whatever you want in there, and it'll display. And I've got some rights issues or something that it's not picking up that index file, but by default, an index HTML or HTML file will display right there in that directory on Windows. But we went to this, okay, because we had in we went to that directory because we had rights. Sorry, we had, so now it displays that again. So it's some type of issue with that text file. Maybe it's not a text file. But as that displays, the only reason that displays is because when we were in go to my browser here, because when we go into this and we go to the the actual Launch Wizard 1, okay, that has our firewall, and we allowed port 80 to go through that firewall. So security groups, okay, and we go to let's see, network interfaces. Oh, here it is. There it is. So I can click on, let me go back. It's a little bit different now with this layout. But okay, right here, Launch Wizard 1. When I click on Launch Wizard 1, this is our traffic. This is our actual firewall. Okay. And so this port 80 traffic right here at the bottom, inbound coming in, allows port 80 traffic, and that's why that web server popped up. All right, so without that, if we edit these inbound rules, what we were seeing, if we delete these, okay, I delete these two, save rules. So now I just have the one rule from remote desktop, and I go back to my this, and I hit refresh. Then at the bottom, you see it's connecting. Okay, it's trying to connect, but it's not connecting. And so it's going to come back and not connect because why? Because port 80 is being blocked now for web traffic. And so my server that I spun up in Amazon Web Services, you see how it comes back and says this site cannot be reached. But by going back in and editing the inbound rules and adding a rule and saying, hey, I want to allow HTTP, too far down, HTTPS, that's the wrong one, HTTP, port 80 from anywhere, okay, web traffic, and you don't need a description, but save rules. Okay, now I go to, again, I go to, where was I? Go to here, and I press refresh. Up comes my site again. So that firewall is either blocking or it's allowing traffic. All right, and it's inbound. It's traffic coming into the interface, which is coming into Amazon Web Services, and it's allowing port 80 go through to that IP address. All right, and this is the same scenario as if I have packet tracer, okay? So remember how our lab, we had created a web server over here, over on the far left. And this web server in my case is 192.168.10.5, okay? And if I go to that web server, okay, and I say web browser, and I put in 192.168.100.5, I can go to that, what I created, this little file called St. Martin's University, all right? Now we also had DNS, which resolves the name to an IP address. So www.stmartin.edu does the same thing. You go, it goes to the same page, all right? So that same thing over here, if I put on this router, okay, enable, show run, and here are my interfaces here. I have this 250 net on interface fast Ethernet 00. I have my helper address. That was for my DHCP server, so it wouldn't block my broadcast traffic. And then I have this IP access group. Okay. And if I can do an IP access group in or out, inbound or outbound traffic. And I have to have down farther, I have to have what's called an access control list. Once we get past these interfaces and the dynamic routing, that router EIGRP, we have this access list. An access list, there is two types of access lists. And this is similar to what's happening in the cloud, but it's specifically on this router, and these are the actual commands on the router. So if I put routing and switching, okay, and I put this here, all right. You see these commands that you put, and there's two types of commands, all right. You have, for creating access control lists in a Cisco router, you have a standard access list that is from 1 to 99, and an extended access list from 100 to 199. And there's another range up, fire up to give you more options of access control lists, but those are the default groups. So if you created an IP access group 11, an IP access group 110 or something, then the Cisco router would know, okay, extended commands are 100 and above, 100 to 199, and just standard access lists are from 1 to 99. And the components of that access list is source address, destination, protocol, and port information. So here would be an example. Access list 110, this is an extended access list. Permit TCP, Transmit Control Protocol, to this host, sorry, from the source is first, from this source, okay, which is this whole network, 172.24.124 net, with this wildcard mask. It's just a reverse mask. That's 0.0.255. And then to the destination of this 172.16.50.2, for example. All right. TCP, okay, IP protocol, TCP. And equal to, you could put equal to 80, port 80, like what we were doing just now. Or you could do equal to www. They have names associated with some of them. So you can do that as well. All right, those are so it's access list and then number, permit or deny. Like, so you could say access list 100 and then deny with a source address, or permit with a source address, and so forth. So what we've done here, if we go back to this, is we have created an access list 100, and I said deny TCP from any to any equal to port 80. So, and then I also had this access list deny right here. So if we were to edit these, access dash list 1. And if you don't know what to do, put your question mark. Okay. Deny question mark any to, you can do from any to any. Okay. From any to host 192.168.100.5, was it? Okay. Oh, yeah. If I look at what I just did, show run, I have an in and an out, you'll notice. They didn't remove the out. Yeah, so we can 0, and let's say no IP access group 1 out, and then it removes it. Show run. Now I just have the in. But if let me just escape back out. It's hard. So if I go to this and I go to my desktop and I go to this and I put in .st.edu, it's going to block everything, right? Now you can config T interface fast Ethernet 00, and I say no IP access group 1 in. Okay, if I do that, and now I go here and I do this, see how it hits it? Because I have not applied it to the interface. And if I go back to this, and I had another one here, I'll run, just go down the list here to my, I had this, once I get past the interfaces, here's my access list. Access 100 deny TCP any equal to dub. Okay, that's my 100. So if I go to config T interface fast Ethernet 00 IP access group 100 inbound. Okay. So if I go to this PC and I go again to this desktop and I hit it again. Okay. Let's see. Let me clear it. Go back. Go in there again. Oh yeah. Okay. Now if I go www.stmartin.edu. Oh. stmartin.edu. Yeah. So it blocks it. But if I go to this desktop and I go to, oh, sorry. And I go to a command prompt, 168.1.5, sorry, 100. Oops.
Just a comma.
Yeah. should be able to still ping because I had blocked. Is this one working? Terminal. That's replying. So why is this one not ping 192.168 100.5? Got some issue here. Maybe I am blocking everything from that site. But this access control list has to be applied. Oh yeah, you know what? It's got to be applied to the interface. So I have, yeah, IP access group 100 in and 100 IP access group in is just this line, deny TCP from any to any equal to World Wide Web. So it should just block just web traffic. So everything else should work. I should still be able to ping, but web traffic shouldn't be able to go. So, okay. I'll figure out why this is not working. Both of my demos are screwing out. But you get the idea. The concept is that even with the web, you have a firewall with a specific access control list that's in a GUI format. This is a command line done on the router, but it's inbound or outbound based on that interface on the router to block from layer 3 or layer 4 type traffic, ports or IP addresses, ports are at layer 4, to block specific traffic based on the port that they use. In this case, I was trying to block port 80, and it blocked everything for whatever reason. So yeah, so there you have it. Okay, so we're run out of time, but you can add these, and we'll send you the commands that you can add, and you can try it out on your own on your router with your packet tracer file. But these are easily applied, created and applied both regular and extended access lists, depending on what you want to do, whether it's just block a range or an IP specific or specific ports with an extended access list. All right. So maybe that gives a little bit more understanding with firewalls, blocking traffic based on IP or port, both web, cloud, I guess, on the internet, cloud services, and in this case, this would be, packet tracer should be like a simulated local area network, or in this case, wide area network that you've got. Okay. Any questions before we finish for today? Yeah, we can drop off if anyone wants to stay on and continue to talk about it. Feel free to stay on and we can
Stop
chat.
the recording now.